We're back again doing one of these then and now videos. Today's a bit different. Last time we done Kurri, then we done Western. This one's a bit of everything. People said about doing like one at Abermain or Heddon Greta or whatever, but it wasn't quite enough photos to do one of each. So today we're going to go to Heddon Greta, Abermain, Stanford, and a bit of Kurri, and see what we can see and what's changed and what's the same. So at the moment we're starting in my hometown, Heddon Greta, about the drive-in. So let's have a bit of a look at a photo from 1999. So here we are at the drive-in. We're on the wrong side of the fence when this photo was taken, but it is locked today. As always, put the regular photo up, trying to get close as we can. So this photo, yeah, it's from 1999, just a few years after they reopened the drive-in. It looks pretty similar actually. The sign is still the same, but there's different artwork on it, and the board where the playing films is gone now. The difference, the biggest difference you can see, if you can see it here, over the back there, there's houses. This whole area used to be in the middle of nowhere. It used to be a gravel road, and now there's houses all around it. And apparently this has been sold. Not apparently, this has been sold off for future housing use. It was meant to close down a couple of years ago, but it's still here, thankfully. But who knows what's the go with it, how long it's going to be here. So if you like to experience something like this, get it here while you can. Have a look for the fence here. So there's the ticket booth, and down the back you can't see it from here. There's like a big candy store type thing, concession stand, projection room. But yeah, so that's the first one, the Heddon Greta drive-in. I actually like to come in one day and do like a tour through the place, but I don't know enough people to do that. But let's go for a drive to Abermain and see what we can see over there. Right, here we are in Abermain, a couple of suburbs across from Kurri. We've got a lot from around here, and this one was the Abermain News Agency in January 1986. It's another Percy Sternbeck photo. Yeah, these days I don't know what's even in there now. I think I'll walk out and have a look at it later. But it has been closed down for a little while. It was a news agency for a long time. But a few years ago, I guess it disappeared. Was the post office as well here for a while. So yeah, as always, a lot of these news agencies are gone now. This one's also pretty cool because on the building on the right there, well, part of it, the house part, there it is, that bit. It's got a mural on it as part of the Towns with Heart murals project. And I think I might have missed that one. I done a video about them about a year or so ago, and I might have missed that one. But yeah, so there we go. There's the paper shop. We used to be the paper shop out of Maine. Now it's a new business. Might go walk across the road and see what it even is. Right, these next two are sort of next to each other. These are in the shops at Abermain. The first one is the Kurri Cooperative Society Limited Abermain branch. That photo is from January 1986. There's another Percy Sternbeck photo. But yeah, this here used to be the co-op in Kurri. It's now the community centre. So like the store, like a predecessor to like grocery store, clothes store, that sort of stuff. Everything pretty much. This was their main branch. I think there's a Western one as well, which was the which is now the Food Works, which was our last video of Western. So yeah, this is the main version. These days it's a dance studio and they sell dance clothes and whatnot. And yeah, next to there is a new building going in here. And the next one up there past the Icebox Liquor is the School of Arts, which is actually the Sir Edgeworth David Museum. A little local history stuff, so if you're interested in local history, it'd be a good place to look into. Anyhow, we'll go next door, have a look at the building next door. Alright, the one next door was previously part of the Abermain branch of the Cooperative Society. It's believed from 1918. The photo itself is from January 86. Again, another one, Percy Sternbeck Collection, University Living Histories, Coalfields Heritage. Shared all these photos. So this one's now the chemist in Abermain. At the time, back in the 80s, it was the Coalfields Greyhound and Pet Centre. I remember it's been here. It's sort of like dog food and stuff for greyhounds. Pretty popular sport around here, probably still is. It's a lot of people in the greyhounds. Yeah, you can see the building, it has at some stage since then been painted and that, but at the moment it's getting a bit old again, the paint, but yeah. Carport's gone, other store's still there. So that one there's a similar building, new use of course. Yeah, this road's rather busy today. Oh yeah, by the way, the place before the paper shop is now a op shop. But the people are a bit different, so that's all I'm going to say about that. But yeah, there's an op shop there. I'm going to go inside that building at some stage. But yeah, let's go up the road a bit and have a look at the pub. But here's a bit of a different one here. It's a photo, a lot of photos normally use. This photo is of the Denman Hotel. Now, works, I guess, live music venue as well. This photo is from 1911 when they were building the place originally. As you see in the old photo, put that at the top here now, the place had 3 stories. It's only got 2. And the story goes that back in the day, it probably still exists, I don't know, there was a room tax on how many rooms your hotel had. So actually, I'm not sure the year, but they actually come and took the 3rd story off the building to save money to not have to pay the room tax on them rooms that weren't being used very often. But the thing is, when I used to play pool here for the team about 25 years ago, and the guy who ran the pub at the time told me the building, they took the bricks away, they built a building in Kurri with them. I think it's in Alexandra Street. It's possibly the brick building near the car yard, the old car yard. But don't quote me on that, but there is someone out there knows what building these bricks were used for. Put it in the comments. But yeah, so that's the Denman Hotel in Abermain. It used to be 3 stories, now it's only 2. And yeah, it's been changed. They have a lot of live music here now, food and live music. So yeah, it's an interesting old building with a bit of a story. For some reason, I think this might be the building that used the bricks from the Denman Hotel when they knocked the top level off. I could be wrong. I'm sure there used to be dark, similar coloured brick on this, and I'm sure the guy told me it was in Alexander Street. But as I said, if anyone knows any better, make a comment on the video or send us a message. But we're back in Kurri again. It's about there somewhere. But we have the Kurri motor in these days. Back in them days, this was December 1987. Percy Sternbeck photo, of course, from all them sources we talked about. It was the Kurri spire motor in, as you can see by the unique architecture of the spire on top of the building. It actually looks pretty similar these days, the colour and everything. It was painted, the restaurant part at least was painted like a blue colour for a while. So these days it looks closer than it did between then and now. You can see it's a little bit different. Back in '86 they had that NOB advertising on the street signs, and there used to be a sign there to tell you to go to Cessnock, but no one wanted to, so they probably took the sign down for that reason. Yeah, the building looks pretty similar now than it did back then. It did change in the meantime. It's gone back to that colour and style. Also, back in them days, it's not sure if it's still going, but yeah, these all these motels had restaurants in them. And the locals, yeah, you go there for dinner, or you get takeout from the restaurant at the hotel, which these days is not a bigger thing as it used to be. Try and line the power poles like this one here. We've done this from the other angle last time in the Kurri one, but this time, I think last time the car dealership was there, but there's still shops and stuff here. This was from 1989, December 1989. This is when Bilo was here. Had Pearson's Meats in the building as well. This photo here. I did used to have a row of shops in the front of the brick building there, but they took them out and made the supermarket bigger. So I'm not sure if this is before or after that. There's it's only the Bilo and the Pearson's in there. And yeah, you can see what used to be the Holden dealership and the Nissan dealership. And a couple of houses there all been taken up by the supermarket. And at the time, they knocked them buildings in to build that new supermarket, and the Bilo become the car park for the current supermarket. So they sort of had them both there once, I think, at one stage. But yeah, so that's a different angle from the previous one, at different times. So yeah, there used to be a crossing about here near the corner. They moved it down the road a bit, probably a bit safer for the kids at school. So yeah, that's from 1989 there. So yeah, it's still the same company owns the block. It's moved a bit, it's got a bit flasher. We're back in the park at Kurri here again. We've been out here previously looking at Lightfoot's and the Workers Club. Here we are actually between them two buildings. This used to be the Coalfields Bank in Kurri Kurri. Come here because Dad used to work here actually. So yeah, I think he even has that sign on the front building, at the front of the building at home. It was one like it anyhow. We got a marketplace a while back. But yeah, back in 1997, this was the Coalfields Bank, and the building next to it, not sure what it was back then. Previously, this was the bank before the one on the left was built. These days it's a visitor information centre, obviously, a big sign on the front. There was a cafe there for a while. It's not there at the moment, but anyone wants to lease a cafe, one they're going. But yeah, so the Medical Centre, they now own the Workers Club building next door, which has regressed a bit since we were here the other week. And you can see in the photo there, just between to the left of the Coalfields Bank, the green awning on the building, that was a standalone tab back in the old days before they had pub tab and whatever. Had to go to the actual tab building, put your bets on. They always smell like pubs if you don't know what drinking them. And they end up becoming part of the Workers Club. They moved the tab into there. But yeah, so that is the old Coalfields Bank, and the even older Coalfields Bank buildings in Kurri Kurri. Today, so they've got the memorial, it's got the wreaths out, poppies. So yeah, it's all happening up here earlier. Right over on the other side of the park now. This one here used to be called Tate's Minor 10. This is with Kurri Hardware Store. There it is now. You see the building on the right is gone totally. And the main one, it was a computer shop up until recently. Maybe doing like second appliances as well, one half of it. And I noticed a few weeks ago they boarded it up, actually doing some sort of construction there now. So hopefully they're fixing the building up. You see on the left, like even where the mall railway shop is on the left there. The awning that's gone, the trees are gone that used to be this side of the road. Yeah, and to the right there now is the newer settling building that never used to be there, of course. That's only fairly new. Yeah, so I'm not sure what's going on in this building, but yeah, it's getting rebuilt. If you look at it, it's a pretty similar colour to what it was back in 1986, but it had been painted since then. It used to be blue for a while. If you look real closely at the top there, which I'll zoom in, just notice you can see where it still says Tate's. It's got like the 90s, 80s and 90s Minor 10 Tate's, the M10 logo there. So yeah, it looks like I painted back to a similar colour to what it was when it was the Minor 10 then. This one might be harder to do. Here is the old IJ building, I guess, Kingsway Plaza. Inside photo, about there somewhere. Put the real one up there, superimpose this. But yeah, about a year ago, done the video. This place walked through here before it shut down. It was all the shops had boarded up. There's like one shop left. That was over a year ago. These days it shut down not long after that. And so these days people have been getting in there, smashing things up. And yeah, it's not looking a bit worse for wear there. The place was approved to put a worse in, but it's never happened yet. I think it's for sale. So yeah, that one there was Fleming's when it opened in 1984. And these days it's looking a bit worse for wear. Right, we're still in Kurri. The next one is the Kurri Footy Ground, graveyard, and the Kurri Bulldogs. You can see here the same grandstands. You can kind of see behind that all-fab sign there. Still that same grandstand there. To the right, that used to be a wooden grandstand. I really remember that being there when we come here for like school sports carnivals back in the 80s. That photo's from like 1986, this photo here, so it's probably about right. What does get me is you can see the palm tree has grown a lot in the last 40 years. You got a few more trees down the hill. Put a couple of signs up trying to block the view, I guess, so the people driving past, so they make them pay to come watch the footy. A bit better fence and just the usual ground upgrades, like better lighting these days. Probably better surface, but yeah, it looks pretty similar to it did back in 40 years ago. We'll go across the road around these trees and let's have a look at the grandstand. You go across the road, you can see the grandstand, still the same grandstand, it's got the blue chairs there. I could be wrong, but I think they might have come from the night stadium when they rebuilt that. They take all the places around the city. There's now the John Sattler stand, named after a local legend player. Going to play for Australia. But yeah, the field's looking pretty good at the moment. It is footy season. So yeah, instead of left the grandstand as the members shed that never used to be there back then. There's a bit of tall block there, but look at it. That tall block's still there behind that building, I believe. Yeah, there's the Kurri footy ground, also known as the graveyard. But this one was a tough one to determine where we're at. I think we're about here. This is the old SO station, used to be in Kurri. This was in 1988, March 1988, so I was still going then. But at one stage this was, it was still a petrol station, but also was Keith had his home appliance repair centre in there as well, fixing up washers and dryers and stuff. But I'm pretty sure, first I thought the house in the photo on the left was that house there, but there's a laneway there, so I don't think it's that one. So I think the house in the photo is where that house there is now. So I'm pretty sure the service station is in the same spot as this service station's here now. There was a house to the right of it as well, it's gone. So yeah, there's another one where it's the same use of the land, but it's a vastly different building. A lot of it around it is changed. But yeah, as far as I know, that's about the right spot. So anyone got any other ideas, make sure to send us a message, make a comment. But yeah, so this one online is, it was mistakenly attributed as Hamilton's Garage, Kurri Kurri, which is the one in Lang Street from last time. The Caltex has been half restored. So that one's definitely not Hamilton's Garage, it's the SO. It was here forever. We just came here back in the day, had driveway service, the whole deal. Yeah, another thing you see from 1988, which you don't see anymore, is a cigarette ad on the front of the building. And also, whatever had the service stations having all that bunting everywhere around them, and certainly more either. But different times. But yeah, so that's the old SO station in Kurri Kurri. It's Victoria Street, Kurri, back in the 80s. I'll go around the corner of Stanford, check out the old servo around there. It's still there. Pretty similar form to it is these days, so let's go have a look at it. I thought about these old photos. It's just the old cars in them. They got the old Falcon there, getting some fuel, and just the style of the old fuel trucks back in the day. Not very big like you see these days. Yeah, as I said, times change. The Falcon was actually pretty old back then, 1988. I guess it's probably a 10-year-old car. I guess as old as the Falcon I'm driving now is. So it's all relative. But yeah, it's a cool looking old car. So anyhow, with that we'll go to the next place. Right, here we are in Stanford, Merthyr, in Kurri Kurri. That photo's a bit dodgy, so I'll put the real one up on the screen instead. But we are at the BP service station. The photo there, same, I'll probably take the same day as the last one, the SO, March 1988. You can see with this one compared to the SO, it is practically still the same building that they had here back in the 80s. They had a bigger tanker truck going to that place. Well, look at it. But yeah, they updated the awning, updated the BP logo to change probably a few times over the years. Style of signs changed, but fundamentally it is the same building as it was back then. But yeah, it's all about the old cars and the photos. There's an EJ Holden that one, so that's what, about 25 years old back then. So that is the equivalent of driving around these days an AU Falcon. So yeah, they sort of look old these days relatively, but back then they were fairly new cars, I guess, in theory. The cars didn't last as long back then. But yeah, so there we go, there's the BP at Stanford, Merthyr. Looking pretty similar to it did nearly 40 years ago, 38 years ago. Here we are, back at Heddon Greta, last couple for the video. This one is the Heddon Greta Metro. And focus there. There we go, yeah, so this is the servo at Heddon Greta. The original photo is from March 1988, imagine that. So Percy Sternbeck must have had a petrol station day, take photos of petrol stations that day. Again, this one you can see, it's still the same building, except the mechanical repairs shop, it's still there. I know they were doing moles in there not long ago, but it's not there at the moment. They changed the front of it a bit there, brought it up, so changed the look of the shop, but yeah, it's still the same building. Big ramp on the side's gone now where they fix the cars at. So looky also on there, looks like the same house next door. The garage is still there next door. That was there back in the 80s. Again, same sort of deal. It's all been updated. There's like a big bigger roof over the pumps, new pumps. I know at one stage I'm looking at actually updating this service station to a newer one. I got a letter in the mail about it once years ago, but that's never happened. So who knows if this one will eventually get updated to a more modern type station. But yeah, it's one of the few photos you'll find in the collection here in Heddon Greta. So I thought we'd come check it out, see what it looks like now, and it looks pretty similar. Also look back there, 1988, petrol was 60 cents a litre. That's probably not too much different than what it is these days if you put the inflation into that, so we might look that up later. Yeah, here's through the Shell Heddon Greta service station, mechanical repairs. These days it's the Metro station, but it's still there, still going. It's still looking pretty similar. Right, one last one at Heddon Greta before we finish. I think that's about the right spot. It's a bit hard to see in the bright sun here on the screen. But we have the Heddon Greta Hotel. Same deal. It's has a lot of changes. This is 1986, not a Percy Sternbeck photo. You see back then, the awning was all different back then. This is only just been recently renovated. This was owned by the Royal family for years. He read a story, he bought it as a flip type thing and stayed here for like 30 years or something like that. When they sold the place, the Flanagan's had it. It's got recently sold again, I think, in the last few years. And it's been renovated appearance-wise. The extra bit in the back there, that was added a while ago. That bit, which is in the photo. But the awning, that was done recently, and they put the tiles around, like the old school hard-looking tiles around the building. You see back in the day, it used to have a mock Tudor effect. Back when that was pretty popular. I could be wrong, but the license for this pub's for like early 1900s. It's the same building as back then, but yeah, this is what it looked like in the 80s. Would be a pretty old building, but yeah, so yeah, it's the Heddon Greta Hotel. Another one that's still the same building, still the same purpose, but you can see it's been renewed a fair bit in the last 40 years, that one is. So it should be built out there today. It's been on the NSW today, so it's built out there at the pub. We've also got good restaurant stuff here too, for anyone interested. So yeah, there's the Heddon Greta Hotel. That's the last one we've got for today in our video series, the Then and Now video series. So yeah, it's one a bit different. We've gone around the area a bit more than we normally do. I hope you liked it. There you go, there's our latest in our Then and Now videos. With Kurri Coalfields area, this one was. So a bit different. We went around a bit. Started Heddon Greta, went to Abermain, met some weird people, but that's another story. Yeah, back into Kurri, Stanford, Merthyr, back to Heddon Greta. So yeah, that was a bit different. Hope you liked it. If you want to see more of these, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And if it gets enough interest, we might do some more of these. But we'll see how they go. And if you want any information about any of the buildings that we've seen earlier today, make sure to make some comments. I always like to find out some more local history. Until next time, we'll see you then.